Returning to Planet Coaster is like slipping on a pair of comfortable old shoes. Feels pretty good as it did before. You know what to expect, there aren't too many new surprises because, after all, why fix what ain't broke? That isn't to say Planet Coaster 2 doesn't have a few new bells and whistles, however. Apart from brand new story scenarios, of which there are quite a few, new flat rides, coasters, and track rides, improved park management, shared server asynchronous cooperative play, and some tweaks to UI and physics, the game also supports some pretty attractive water park stuff. In other words, it's a sequel that manages to add without taking away, to feel simultaneously worn and comfortable and more complex. Since the old Coaster Tycoon days, I've always wanted a solid park sim on console. I wasn't much of a PC gamer as a kid, and I'd always get jealous I couldn't play these kinds of games on, Sega Genesis or N64 or whatever I was rocking at the time. Those days are over, have been over since the launch of the Xbox Series consoles and the PS5. Planet Coaster 2 runs just about as good as Planet Coaster 1 did on Xbox Series X, maybe with a little bit more slowdown when parks get too complex. Unfortunately, this game will run much better on a good PC, but it's by no means unplayable on console. Kind of impressive actually, considering how deceptively robust it is. The game is essentially a Lego bucket dumped on the floor. Build the kind of theme park you've always wanted to visit. Let the physics and construction tools set your imagination free. Pretty attractive and pretty much an as-advertised experience on the part of developer Frontier Games. I never felt disappointed in my ability to build cool rides, adjust and improve scenery, make all my many guests as happy as possible, and keep the management of my parks tight, their bottom line secure. There's something almost beautiful about a Planet Coaster theme park that's running like a dream. Otherwise, you're probably in the hole financially, racking up debts, bleeding cash, you know how it is. Either way, ultimate responsibility falls on you. You are the lord of all you survey here, the ultimate coaster impresario. The biggest addition to Planet Coaster is probably the inclusion of water rides and pools. The first game had basic floats and log rides, but this time around there's a full construction suite. Want a giant swimming pool with a tall drop ride built right on the terrace? Or a splash flume so long it might as well start in a bordering state? Go for it, says Frontier. Just be aware guests can be fickle. You must test every coaster and ride you build from scratch, but that's just an excuse to ride them before anyone else gets the chance. And there's plenty of game modes in which to ride them too. My favorite mainstay is the career mode, where Planet Coaster 2 runs you through various objective-based scenarios that test your skills and more or less teach you the ins and outs of the entire game. Many players are more likely to gravitate to the sandbox mode, and still others will prefer the challenges. Sandbox mode is great, allowing you to pretty much play however you want. Just do be aware that on console, Planet Coaster 2 has a complexity meter. If you've built too much in your park, the game will let you know you can't place any more new objects and must streamline what you have. The first game had this too, and just to relate a quick anecdote, it pissed my wife off royally when she played it back in 2020. Imagine us, huddled at home safe and sound during the COVID pandemic, complaining about our inability to produce an endless amusement park on an Xbox. It only meant we loved the game and wanted more out of it. Maybe in the next gen, huh? Maybe in the next gen. I will say this, it seems to me that much of the streamlining Frontier has done has been in an effort to improve playability. How do you cram more in without sacrificing quality of life on limited hardware? Take notes, would-be game series developers, because Frontier gets this. The game's sister series, Planet Zoo, is more focused on the nitty-gritty management stuff, but where Planet Coaster has always shined has been in its construction tools. I consider it something of a minor miracle to be able to dig out a deluxe swimming pool and sculpt a killer roller coaster with a gamepad. There's limited fuss in this area. The game plays about as well as you could ever hope. There's a slight learning curve if you're inexperienced or if you're a lapsed player, and the game doesn't hold your hand much. But once you understand these systems well enough to run them on the fly, you're golden. Planet Coaster 2 plays like a dream. One slight disappointment I'll mention is the relative simplicity of staff management, facilities, ride upkeep and management, basically anything on the more provisional side. I noticed instantly that the aforementioned Planet Zoo had a lot more going for it in this area. In that game, staff wasn't just hired and left to their own devices. You had to build break rooms and personnel shops, adjust work schedules, and assign tasks. Planet Coaster's focus is more on the rides than on the people. For some gamers, this will be a godsend. After all, who in their right mind wants to run a theme park instead of experience a theme park? Well, why not have your cake and eat it too? Sim gamers are a special breed. They like customization, oversight, the power of ultimate decisions. Planet Coaster 2 is perhaps not as involved as it could be on the nuts and bolts end, but it's enormous fun to build rides that thrill guests, and for my money, that's kind of the best case scenario. Also in the plus column, Planet Coaster is a bit more social this time around. The new game supports asynchronous server-based multiplayer, which basically means you and a friend can take turns building a park together online. Then you can upload your creations for others to check out. This new feature works in both career and sandbox modes. There's also some noticeable improvements to both the pathing and the scenery systems in the game. Creating a multitude of attractive guest and utility paths is now as simple as drawing a line. Sometimes the new tool set misbehaves on the gamepad, creating odd breaks and shapes literally set in stone, but hey, you can always hit the back button. As for scenery construction, players can now scale in twin objects, without cheat codes, meaning homebrew blueprints are about to get even more creative. Add scenery right to rides and buildings with the same merge tool Frontier built into Planet Zoo. Another example of a game upgrade that is simultaneously simpler and more powerful. If all this sounds a bit technical though, don't worry. Planet Coaster 2 strikes an excellent balance between casual play and practiced expertise. You could sink dozens, hundreds of hours into your parks, building and tweaking till the cow mascots come home. Or you could just hop in and mess with something a friend built. The choice is entirely yours. Overall, the more you invest in this solid coaster sequel, the more you'll get out of it. Don't let the initial learning curve intimidate you. It goes without saying some frustration may be inevitable, especially for newer players, but Frontier likes to hedge their bets in this department. They build sims that allow for just enough excitement to get you hooked, just enough management and business simulation to make the experience feel complete. After not too long a time, you'll be building super coasters and water rides with the best of them. So that's it, my review of Planet Coaster 2 on console. It won't be a legendary experience for everyone, but for a sim designed to gamify the amusement park industry, it's kind of a thrill ride in and of itself. Jeff Bull Central gives it an 8 out of 10. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, my dear friends. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on all my uploads. I create video game, music, and mental health discussion videos a couple times a week. Hope you found this review edifying. There's more where that came from, baby. Oh boy.
Pretend to be the man who cares about a single thing, apart from touching me and gladly take another blame. I'd sell my soul just to tear you from my brain. She said your destiny